Welcome everybody to the Sober Soldiers
Live Eastside meeting at Kingdom City.
My God, recovery must come first.
I did self-12. No, I sold 4. You need to know the direction. I didn't know. I know. You don't get to do the thing I do. I don't think you do. Thank you. Yeah, I think, right? Yeah. I gotta sell, I need to sell 2 a day. Sold 4 a day. Sold 1 yesterday. Oh, that was the difference. I mean, I met. Sitting up studying for and she walked out and she asked me to pick up the phone. I was laying on the floor, still sitting in the chair, and I've got like 8 books around me. And she just goes, yeah, this is a pastor's life, especially with the pastors in the I have to sit around with all the other ones. She goes, I mean, do what you gotta do. I said, well, we're going to study time, but I also need to go to bed. She's like, great, just go ahead and read it. It's going to be awesome. Oh, the miles and the prices don't match up. I said, well, it's got 77 hours.
Yeah, that's literally what I'm reaching out.
So
I started reading this afternoon because I felt like I told my and as I was reading,
yeah, that's what it's about.
just want this clear.
And then she goes, wait, what's the problem? Picks up a note card. The note card has Romans 12 in it. Out of nowhere. And she goes, wait, don't you just ask me why? She hands it to me. She goes, because Romans 12 is So when you say Romans 12, apparently that is what it is.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's got a show for one time. That's his collection of art.
I wanted to, is what I'm saying. Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. So we were in Matthew 5, 12, 15.
Oh yeah, no, they're coming.
So
They're coming to the doorstep.
sorry.
My anxiety is kicking in. Hello to our soldiers. I am Candace. I have 678 days. I'm in recovery. Welcome to Soldierz Live Recovery Meeting. We are not affiliated with any 12-step program. The difference is we are not a program, but we are a recovery family. We believe God and recovery come first. Recovery can be found in many various ways. We have few announcements to cover before we get this meeting started. 20 acres, Colo, Iowa, October 3rd through the 5th. Saturday, baptism, no campers available, bring tent and sleeping bags. Our meeting is shared on Facebook Live for those who are unable to attend in person. If you do not get to share during the meeting, please feel free to jump on the page and share on the live event or on the page. Everyone's recovery is valuable to this recovery family. Recovery is not a one-size-fits-all. Please speak into the microphone so the people online can hear. If you choose not to share, please at least share your name and your recovery time so we can get to know you. We here in Sober Soldier communities celebrate every day as a victory. Please keep your share 3 minutes maximum so everyone gets a chance to share. As you can see, we keep a chair in the center of the room. For those out there still sick and suffering, and the family members suffering along with them, praying one day they find their chair. A moment of silence followed by the Lord prayer.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Okay, so the topic I wanted to talk is how is your inner child? The reason I picked this song is having a conversation with my daughter. Like a couple of weeks ago, she was saying how she missed herself, how she was lost. Like I see myself, like I understand what she's going through. Like so, that's the reason I picked that inner child. Is I know that we all struggled, and man, it's so good. I know what to say in my head, but I just can't say it. But I know that when we were younger, like when I was younger, I was happy. I was like, a happy girl, fun, energetic, and all that stuff. But like all the, my whole life, I never validated my own feelings. I'm a people pleasing. I make sure everybody was happy, and that I never really took the time for myself. Like I was lost the whole time, and like all the traumas I went through on my addiction, I was lost. And I know my inner child's like Candace, like I'm so don't let it have to fix it. But I mean, it's tough. But I know that putting myself first and validating my own feelings, and I'm so sorry guys, I got this prepared on the way here. Now I'm just like, I'm lost with it. But
It's okay. You're doing great.
I'm totally in the spot.
Slow.
I just get it, like, my answer to my inner child is, she's hurt. emotion, like it's different from my addiction, Candace. You know, I didn't know how to handle the emotion of hurting. When I didn't, like, through my addiction, the reason I use it just to mask that numbing in my hurts. So, like, right now I'm hurting from yelling, like, everything crashing at me. You know, being sober, I was so happy. Now I actually feel the emotion. I can feel it now. Like, you know, I had a dream about my mom, and it feels so real. Like, she was dying in my arms, so I'm starting all over with that. And so my half-sister, mom came to the United States. Even before that, you know, I went through our mom clothes, and it felt real that another woman replacing. Like, and so my emotion is getting my heart broken. It's like, but I know my inner child is strong. I know my inner child's safe. I know my inner child is, you know, I'm really glad that I'm not the old Candace. But like, the old Candace would like, I won from my feelings. I go find some drugs to mask it. I go drink to mask my feelings. Like, now I'm like, it's really good for me that I can like find somebody and talk about it, and I know that God is right there with me. Like, I just don't know how to handle this hurtness right now, but I know that my inner child is strong. I know she's safe, and I know that I'm really glad that I can like validate my feeling and understand it. Like, just, and I hope, you know, my daughter, you know, I hope she can listen to her inner child. You know, like, and my advice is like, what does your child need? What does their child need to be safe? Like, I don't know, just, sorry guys, I had it all planned in my head what to say, not just like, but I just want to say, just make sure you validate your family, inner child, what your inner child wants. Like, I know my inner child, she's safe where she's at, she's happy. I mean, I'm thankful, grateful for what I have. I mean, now I just have to deal, like, how, like, you know, I get my heart broken from a guy who I give my heart to and trust. So now for me, it's like, I can't trust nobody now. Like, trying to find a relationship with anybody, like my homeboy was like, hey, can I borrow $5? I'm like, nope. It sucks. It broke, like, my trust is not there no more. It's like, I can't trust nobody. It's alright. I mean, I'm strong, and I can let God just lead me, you know, just open my eyes, and I got more to say, but I just don't know what it is right now. But thank you for listening.
My name is Jenny Freeble, and I have 14 months in recovery. I didn't get into drugs or experience like life-threatening trauma until I was almost 30 years old. So I had always been in touch with my inner child. And then when I experienced that life-threatening trauma is when I broke away from her. And I thought she was lost. And I can remember times when I was in active addiction, when my parents would ask me, you know, where's that Jenny that I know? Where's that Jenny that I remember? And my stepmom, Dawn, saying, I want to know that Jenny, because she didn't ever get to know that Jenny before. And I would just tell them, she's gone. She's not coming back. And it was sad. And I felt like that was my sentence, you know? But I got her back when I got clean, and my parents can attest to this. I giggle all the time. And that was something that I lost, hardcore. Like, I couldn't remember the last time I laughed when I was in active addiction. And I giggle all the time, sometimes to my own detriment. Like, I laugh when things aren't even funny. But something more recent, we just, in our household, we subscribed to the Angel app, which is like all Christian movies, all Christian TV shows. And I watched The Testament this week, which is amazing. It's a modern world depiction of the book of Acts. if you ever want to check it out. It's really, really cool. But also today, I was going through the selections and I saw this one called A Week Away, which is about a bunch of kids that go to Bible camp, and it's a musical, and like I haven't gotten into like musicals in a really long time. So like I was watching that today, and I was like, I didn't even know it was a musical. But as soon as the kids started singing and dancing, I was like, oh yeah. Here comes out my inner child, and I love her, and I feel so good and so free when she comes out, and I want her there every day. And so as far as trust is concerned, I honestly don't think that we are meant to trust people. I think that we're only meant to trust in God and follow His will. So I trust people to a certain degree. I can trust certain people in certain aspects of life, and I can't trust certain people in other certain aspects of life, but I always trust God. So that's all I got, guys. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dawn, and I'm a supporter.
I'm Steve, and I'm also a supporter.
Jeremy, Allen and I have 2 years, 6 months, and 1 day in recovery. My inner child, he's playful. Like I like to go and goof around. Sometimes at Walmart, I'll go into sporting goods and I'll get on like a little kid's bike with training wheels and I'll ride it around the store. I'll honk the little horn, and I just like to have fun. Like, there's no sense being angry, sad, and depressed. I mean, recovery, it's about being fun. Like, it doesn't all have to be gloom and doom, like, oh, we're not gonna have fun the rest of my life. Like, we have so much fun around the community. Like, I had fun today at the Awakening event. I gotta go and meet some friends. I gotta talk with people. I gotta see a bunch of people there, and I actually gotta pray over some people with one of my pastor friends, which is amazing. Just things like that keep me grounded, because Jesus says you need to have the heart like a child. So have fun and enjoy it. Because my childhood, it was garbage. It was chaos, addiction, guns, drugs, everything that shouldn't be in a child's life. Now I have the opportunity to show my son a better way to live through Christ and have him come to church with me. Bible, like, I don't go to regular Bible study, I go to theology class. And my son would rather sit with me in theology class than go to youth group, because he wants to know more and more about God because of my actions and how Jesus changed my life. With that, I'll pass.
Hi, everyone. I'm Troy. Recovering for over 6 years now. So. Y'all know me, I got way too much to say and not enough time, so I think I should probably just skip tonight. That felt like I was peddling for that now, and that's not why I said that thing, so you guys would all be like, no, please don't. Now I feel very uncomfortable. But anyway, okay. Dude, I'm safe. Like, I'm just flat out safe. I'm free. I'm loved. I'm cherished and joyful, and I get to be all the things that, like, I lost as a kid because I didn't feel safe and I didn't have any solid foundation. Like, my parents tried, and I love them, and I've forgiven them for a lot of gunk. Like, don't get me wrong. Childhood was rough for all the reasons, and not as rough as others for all the reasons. But it was just whatever it was. And now, I don't spend that much time thinking about it. And, like, I get to think about the joyous things that my parents did for me. And, like, if my parents were still around, I would love to sit there and tell them, be like, hey, I'm not mad at you. Like, I know you were just doing your best. And they would be able to see me as a 34-year-old man just living life. And, like, I got a wife and I got a baby. And I'm so thankful for those situations. I get to pastor a church in our living room on Sunday mornings. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay goes to our church sometimes. I get to do all these things because Jesus took all that brokenness away from me. Like, I was able to surrender that peace and go, God, I don't feel safe in my own mind and in my own heart. And like, I never knew a mom and dad that were safe. And so will you be my safe dad? Please? Like, will you be the perfect parent that I never had? And he just flat out says yes. Like, what a crazy situation that is. And like, the joy of that is the fact that like, my daughter, I'm going to screw stuff up. I know that. There's nothing perfect about me in that perspective. But like, I'm not going to be a crazy man that like ruins her life. Like, I get to be in a place where she just grows up and feels loved and like feels joy and knows her identity is rooted in something much stronger than words and much stronger in anything that I say. I show her that she is loved. I get to love her birth parents and like show them that there's a better way and all this different stuff. Like, what a joy that is, because that fact is, I get to be safe so that people around me can see what safe looks like, so they can cling to their Father and get safe, so that they can then help the Lord save other people.
Amen.
It's joy. And like, I giggle a lot more than I used to too, Jenny. It's creepier when I do it, because nobody likes to see a 400-pound bearded man giggle. And that's fine. It's creepy. No, I'm supposed to. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. I love you guys all so much. I'm really proud of each and every one of you. And I'm excited to hear these words because, like, here's the deal. If you're not safe, like we're talking about, then we've got a salve for that. Like, people that know Jesus have something that can get you there, and it's God. And, like, if you're in a space where this is a sad conversation for you and it doesn't land on happiness yet, and it doesn't land on joy and a firm foundation, I'm going to tell you right now, there are people in this room that want to pray for you and be with you and help you find your Father that can get you to that space. And it's not just me. I'm happy to be the dude in the corner that sits or gets up and comes prays over people. It's all Jesus. And like, that's the brand that we're selling here, is the fact that like, he calls you loved, he calls you his child, and you get to be safe when you walk with him. And like, brothers and sisters, let me invite you into that. Because God's got nothing but love for you, and he wants to bring you into that. So there you go.
Amen.
I'm Blair. I'm in recovery. I got 248 days today. And I'm grateful to be here, but I'm just going to listen tonight.
Jason, I got 90 days today. It was pretty good. I mean, it was fine. It was the college years that I kind of lost myself. I mean, 15 to 20 years of addiction, and then this last couple months, I do giggle a lot about stupid stuff. I mean, it's yesterday I was riding in the rain, and for about 5 miles I was doing the windshield wiper on the bike, and I was giggling with the water. And I was like, and I was thinking in my head to stay safe, but I was on the highway, and then I look over and I'm like, there's a cop. Oh no. And then I looked down and I was like, maybe I'm speeding, and I was like, oh no. It was just one of those deals. But it's good. My dad's pretty old and ill, and he's last 20 years he's been, it was always, are you okay? We loved you, stuff like that. And it's hard because, he just got dementia about 6 months ago, but it's kind of short term. So he giggles a lot with me, and I giggle with him. But it's more of like, I won't remember today, but I remember 10 years ago stuff, like how's, like I'll ask him, how's the football game? And he's like, it was good. I don't remember it, but I know it was good, But he calls and he's like so excited, that he can talk to me that day, and you can just hear it in his voice, like, and then I hope that he'll remember. But then the next day, he's so excited again, and I'm like, do you remember when we talked yesterday? He's like, oh, we talked yesterday? And it's just one of those, and I giggle, and with my kids I giggle, and my kids are like, you're an idiot. I'm an idiot, and it's like I'm 15 again, running around and being stupid, and it's hard to adult now, I guess, because I just want to have fun. Like, it's it's weird. I got a job coming up in a week, and I hopefully can have fun in my job. But I don't know. I have to test those waters, so I mean, I get to run a warehouse by myself, so I'm sure I'll have a fun time by myself. So, but with that, I'll pass.
I'm Sean. I got 251 days today. This year, I've been in touch with my inner child more than I have in my whole life, pretty much. I grew up with parents that partied. They don't now anymore. And I was in my active addiction since I was like 10 years old. So I was always worried about other things in life other than being happy and doing things a kid should be doing. But this year, yeah, sometimes I annoy some of them in the house with my inner child, joking around and everything. But they're getting used to me. But without a pass.
I'm Lindsay. I have roughly 13 months. I don't really. So, thanks, Troy. You said everything I was going to say. I'm just kidding. But it was something along those lines. I just remember, I didn't start my active addiction until I was 24. But I guess I did drink in high school. But I had a lot of trauma as a kid, and I think that my inner child had a mask after, walls were slowly built, brick by brick by brick by brick, to conform to what I thought people wanted, to conform to, how can I manipulate this to get my needs met? How can I remember hiding in a closet when I was young from the person who was sexually abusing me. I was lived in fear because the people that were supposed to love me, that, were supposed to protect me, were the ones hurting me. And so I did know Jesus when I was young, although I also knew Jesus through the people, and that wasn't a good way to know Jesus because people are broken and people are sinful. So that automatically, I remember my grandma, God rest her soul, she is just a human, but it deterred me from Jesus because she would go to church, pray, then come home and talk about her entire family behind their back, and so I was like, well, that's not Jesus like that. I'm learning this stuff in church and Awanas, and so it deterred me from it. And each time that through my whole stint of my addiction, I've had stints of years of recovery and then fall back off, and I knew Jesus then, and then, until I was like, here, Jesus, let me take the wheel back, because I know what I'm doing. Never. But I'll tell you, this time, I am at most peace. I feel like through this 13 months of starting with treatment, working on those hurts and hang-ups, working on healing those things, working on learning how to understand my emotions and understand that, because I was just like Candace, I used because I hate to be sad. I hate it. Well, not so much anymore. People get angry and they're like, it's like electricity. When I'm sad, it's like electricity through my body, and I will hyperventilate at the dumbest things because it affects my soul in a different way. But I have a father now who I know I feel the most safe I've ever felt. And I'm okay being me, and the bricks of my wall are crashing down because I don't have to be afraid anymore. I understand now people are broken and sinful, and I still love them anyway, but I have a God that loves me, and that's where my identity comes from now, and so I can be me. I don't have to try to conform to what I think people want me to be. I'm me, and if people don't like me, I'm not. I mean, of course, I don't want to fix it because sometimes there's no fixing it. It's just the way it is. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't get angry if you don't like me. I mean, you have a right not to like me. But I'm the biggest kid in the whole world. If y'all know me, yeah. So I'm learning how to juggle the adult, like Jason is talking about, the adult and the kid. There's times to reel her back in because, you know, I have responsibilities. And on the other hand of that, I'm in a safe place now that I haven't always been the safest for my kids, you know. Nevaeh will even tell you now, she's like, Mom, I'm scared when's the foot gonna drop again, because we've been through this, and rightfully so, you know. She's been through this her entire life. But I feel safe in the confidence in Jesus Christ and my God that I can build that safety. And for you, let me see, it's okay. For those of you who don't know, my DHS case was closed, so my kids. So now I'm working on building their relationship with Jesus Christ, because when I do falter and fall, they still have him to go to, and they still know that he is there, and they understand that Mom, you know, is going to fall, but they have a God that is always going to have their back. And I'm giving them a safe place to like express their emotions, because even though they're 15 and 12, they still have emotions, and they're allowed to have emotions. And when I'm wrong, I have to tell them I'm wrong. I have to say I'm sorry, because my goal is not, I mean, I'm their friend, but my goal is ultimately to become Christ-loving adults who are a good part of society and show kindness and love in the world. That's all I got.
I'm Joseph. I have 44 days clean. Inner child. This is kind of a rough subject for me. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it out. When I was 12, my parents were going on the end stage of their marriage, and so I basically got to run out and do whatever I wanted to do. I remember I called my mom, I called my mom from the pool once, and anyways, long story short, I went and stayed at a so-called friend's house at that age, and his mom shot me and him up with meth at the age of 12, and then she ended up having sex with me and stuff. So I went throughout before that, I was raised in the church, and I was doing really good, you know, like I was doing really good. I don't really remember much of it because of all the drugs, but my family tried to raise me up good. But once that happened, I grew up looking at all the wrong people, looking up to them. You know, who could I get my drugs from? Who I was getting my drugs from were my idols. You know, it went from, and then my parents got divorced like 2 years after that. And so all that time, I was a kid, you know, I thought I was cool because I was having sex with an older lady. And I was doing drugs, you know, and still mad, but it's mind-blowing to think back on. You know, I'm 32 now, I'm the age that woman was when she did this to me. And it's like, can't imagine that. Once I had my kids, you know, I was like, I will make sure that this never happens to my kids. I'll be there for my kids. I'll make sure they don't ever go through any of that stuff. And now I'm not there for them. And anyways, it's about my ownership. So, yeah, I went through some tough shit and did it on my own because I didn't know how to talk about it. Like I said, I thought I was cool doing those things. And I just didn't know any better. But once I got to the point where I thought I knew better, I was hooked. There was no turning around, no coming back from it. And it was like rehab after rehab, PO after PO. Family just left, and just therapy after therapy. And, you know, I didn't even know how to talk about it to therapists because I was too good to talk to him about it, you know. And it wasn't until like 5 or 6 years ago I started talking about this shit, and it sucks. My inner child is damaged still. I mean, when I joke around with the guys at work and stuff like that, and I catch myself like, you know, I realize that I got a lot of work to do still. that'll pass.
Hi, I'm Casey. And I have nope, that's not my phone. Jeez. 72, 73 days. All right. Last time I did it fast, losing track of my days a little bit. It's like one day I'm like a day or two ahead, then I'm like in 3 days behind. So, but my inner child, man, I had a pretty decent childhood. I can remember being out in the backyard and being at the water spigot and making rainbows, and just like that was the coolest thing to me. And riding in the tractor with Dad, falling asleep in the back window, like who falls asleep in a tractor? I do. I fall asleep with loud noises. Like a lawnmower running puts me to sleep. That's my inner child. Like just being around those things. Some of my childhood, it wasn't good. An abandonment issue happened as a child. My mom, my mother, I love her very much. She did the best she could, I guess. She was there and she wasn't there. I got to spend a lot of time with my grandma growing up, and I can remember being in the backyard with my grandma and her teaching me the stars, because y'all, in the country, you can see every single star there is, every single one, all the constellations, and it's amazing. That same backyard that I was making the water make rainbows in, I got to teach this little city kid. He came out, one of my friends brought their little child out, and he looks up at the stars and he goes, "What are those?" And I'm like, "Bro, let me tell you what those are, because this is my child and I'm gonna teach you." And then we caught fireflies, and it was amazing. That was my childhood, and it was wonderful. My mom was in and out of it. I wish she would have stayed out of it more, because when I was with her, things weren't good. She didn't know how. She suffers. She still suffers. I pray for her all the time. I can't wait for her to see that there's a better life out there. I remember being in addiction and being so sad and so gone and so lost. I didn't know what being happy was. I didn't know. I used to think about those times being in the backyard and wishing, I never grew up. When all the time when I was little, I couldn't wait to grow up. I was going to grow up and I was going to eat cookies before my dinner. And then I grew up and I didn't even eat cookies because I was dieting. And it was like, okay, well, that's out the window. But this is a blessing. Being sober is a blessing. Life is a blessing. I am so grateful for God. I am so grateful that He is my Father. I am so grateful for those things. And life is going to be something I never thought it was going to be. I remember being a kid and seeing nice houses and being like, my mom would be like, "Oh, you have to win the lottery to have something like that." No, you don't. You just have to work hard. You have to not do drugs. You have to not drink. And that was something that she never did. Not do. There's times where and like when I was a kid, I never knew what it was that she was doing. And it sucked when I grew up and I figured it out, because then I was in it. And I remember I never wanted to be like her. And when I decided that it was time to quit, because I was looking in the mirror and I was seeing my mom, that was my realization that I needed to do something different with my life, because I didn't want to be 50 years old and be where she is now. And I love her, and I just wish the best for her, and I wish she knew there was a better way and figure it out. But my childhood was pretty decent. Things were good, except for the in and out of her and being abandoned and that thing. But I don't know, things were pretty good when I was a child, and I'm blessed to be here. I'm glad addiction didn't keep me for any longer than it did. So with that, I'll pass.
Hello, my name's Kevin. I'm in recovery. Before I would ever come to these meetings here with a, well, let's get to that. Hold on. I used to go around the room. I did 12 steps A and A. I went to inpatient, outpatient. Did prison when I was in my early 20s. And I would sit there and everybody would go around and say their name. They'd tell their little story. I never thought much of it, but so I pretty much called it like I was in a lifer with installment plans and recovery. Now I'm just a lifer in recovery, full-time job. I get great 401k, I get great pay, I get my life back, and right there, that's priceless. My childhood, oh buddy, let me tell you something. I was like Richard Simmons on crack. I don't know if any of you are old enough to know that. Let's go, girls. So to the oldies. I still got my VHS signed. My sister had a Captain Pass doll. I had my buddy doll. We were sweating it, bud. I watched G.I. Joes. Sunday I watched Tarzan. I watched, I loved it. I was a kid. I had a big heart. And I threw my sister out of a 2-story bedroom window. There was a mattress. Yep. And then my uncle said one time that he jumped out of the window with a sheet. He called it a parachute. I found out later the sheet does not work. So I did a lot of crazy stuff, and I had a great childhood. My father traveled a lot. He was all over the world. I went with him every country he ever went to. I got to see a lot. I got to live. But I also got to experience a lot that a lot of kids my age should have experienced. You should not be 14 years old in Amsterdam by yourself while your dad's on a base. Let me tell you, not cool. But I lived. And I'm glad I got to experience all those things. I'm glad I got to be a Marine brat. Because I met some amazing people along the way. People are probably sitting in these chairs today. I hope to God they are. Because they deserve it. And I love the fact that y'all put this chair in the middle, because I know a lot of brothers and sisters I like to see there. And there's people behind us right now are on their way up, and they're coming fast, they're coming hard. They want to be right where we're at. And we need to set an example. But as an inner child, yeah, I was a class clown. I was the guy that invited to the party first, but asked to leave first too. That was me. I was load and explode, bud. Let me tell you. I was a rock and roll express. By the way, in the 80s, that was a wrestling team, a match, WCW. I miss my inner child, though, the innocence. My dad would show me off to his friends. Tell that joke. I'm 8 years old. You want to hear a dirty joke? I said. A boy fell in a mud puddle. He thought it was funny. Then my mom was, tell the clean one. He took a bath. That's stupid stuff. I tell those jokes to my kids and they laugh to this day, even though I only got one daughter actually spoke to me just recently, and I enjoyed that. But I did have a son that called me out last night. He reached to his phone, dialed it. I don't know why he did, but I'm glad he did. The words weren't very nice, but I listened. I didn't know what to say. I just said, yes, son. Yes, son. I'm not your son, so yes, Dalton. That's all I could do. And I love him to death. But he did tell me I was number one, though. So that's good. So I got to look at the positive and the negative, He didn't ask to be born. He didn't ask for this life. I made the choices I made to get where I'm at. And the sad part about it is I brought my kids into this life. Not intentionally. I never wanted to hurt them. I never wanted to walk away. I was running away from myself, my inner demons. I was running away from my ego. I was a coward. I was a pain in the butt. I was a menace to society. I listened to that inner voice in my head, insidious voice, kept telling me, nobody loves you, nobody cares about you. That's bullcrap. I had some woman come up to me the other day at the church we go to and said, Kevin, I've been praying for 4 years, and I looked at her, I never met her in my life. And then she mentions a name, which I do not know who that is to this day, but she knows all about me. Somebody actually praying for this guy? Wow. That's pretty cool. Because I need all the prayers I can get. So I'm assuming this is live.
You're right, Dalton. September 19th is not your birthday. April 19th is your birthday, son. Happy birthday, brother. No matter what month it is, I'm going to celebrate it every day of the week. I love you, man. I'll pass, guys.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I got 626 days today. Inner child, you know, that really hits home to me. I'm definitely, I got a lot of inner child. I got real bad ADHD, so I'm really hyperactive like a kid all the time. Sometimes it's hard to slow down. Yeah, there was a time in my life where I wasn't very joyful or happy. You know, I wasn't very, like, I didn't really have my inner child, wasn't like, I didn't have it, or it was hidden away. But nowadays, I can honestly say that I'm always smiling, I'm always happy, I'm always hyper. You know, and I think that's just because of the new life I have as a new creation in Christ. You know, and I don't really worry too much. You know, when I think about it, like what an inner child would look like, it would be like what my niece and nephew, like what their heart looks like. You know, my niece and nephew, they're young. They got a heart like a child. You know, they love unconditionally, but also they're quick to forgive. You know, like I could do something, like if I'm for like the amount of time that I missed in their life when I was in prison. You know, my nephew, like that's my buddy. He still loves me. You know, and they're very quick to forgive. So I think they like to have a heart like a child. Not only to love like them, but to also forgive like them. You know, kids are quick to forgive. But as we get older. Yeah, my childhood, it was like, you know, I would say it was good and it was bad. You know, I still had fun as a kid, but I had to grow up quick. My parents were in addiction, locked up, went to foster care. You know, it's pretty similar to a lot of other people's stories, you know, and some are worse, some are better. But we live in a society where we have to tell us that we need to grow up, you need to get a job, you need to work, you know, but it's also important to be happy and enjoy that life as you live it, you know. So like having fun with it and smiling and yeah. So with that, I'll pass.
I'm Eric. I got 9 months and 22 days. Inner child. Me growing up was a little rough. I had older sisters that were mean. And for sure, mag flashlights thrown down the hallway, smacked me in the head, got grounded. They got me grounded, or whatever. Then like growing up, my parents, my dad was always drunk, so my real dad, he would try to come pick me up. Wouldn't really show up there every other weekend. He'd leave me sit there at the window, staring out the window, waiting for him to come after I got out of school on Fridays, and wouldn't really show up. So like I hung out with my mom a lot, and she kind of like was the dad and the mom at the same time, and so didn't really. She was interacted with me. So then when I would go see my real dad, hang out with my cousins and stuff, they also were mean and hurtful and stuff like that. So it wasn't, you know, they didn't really like playing a lot. They were too serious, you know. Now the inner child does come out at work and at home with the guys. I joke around with the guys a lot, you know, and it's cool. It kind of like makes me feel happy that I can joke around with the brothers and like kid with them, because I didn't really have that growing up, and like I look up to some of them, you know, and they look up to me even though I'm short, you know. So I'm getting taller by the minute, not really. Also, growing the hair on my head is really getting to me too sometimes. So like, you know, I don't really have yeah. So, anyways, inner child. This is a good topic. Yeah. All right, I'll pass.
My name's Jamie. I got 2 dates that I'm very proud of. I got 23 years, 8 months, and 25 days. And I also have 1 year, 8 months, and 19 days sober from alcohol.
I'm Cheyenne. I have 4 years, 9 months, 26 days. This topic is actually really hard for me to talk about. When it was first brought up, I sat in this chair right here crying, and I had you talk to me. And then I had this amazing woman come over and hug me. My inner child's traumatized. Between I'll just say it. There's a few people here who don't know, who are new. I was sold to a brothel at 8 years old. And at 8 years old, I had 12 clients in the month that I lived there. I was an 8-year-old doing things that an 8-year-old shouldn't even know anything about. And I was sold into being a whore. And there are times where I still see myself that way. I try to bring the other side out where I constantly laugh, I joke, try to have fun. But it wasn't easy. Because when I came home from that, my brother also decided to take a go at it. And unfortunately, he went all the way. And so I'm still healing from everything. There's still nights where I wake up soaked in cold sweat because I feel like I can smell them, I can feel them, I can hear them. There are some that I still see on the streets, and it takes me a second to realize I'm not that 8-year-old little girl anymore. And I can actually do something about it this time. My childhood was also, I was homeless as a child. I wondered where my next meal was coming from a lot of the time because my parents were in active addiction for well over half my life. And it was hard growing up. I'm not going to say I had the hardest childhood because I definitely didn't. There are others out there who had it much worse than me. But it wasn't, my childhood definitely was different from those I went to school with. And I was actually speaking with my roommate the other night because they asked me, when it's my mom's turn to become like my dad, if I was going to do the same thing for her that I'm doing for him. And I was honest, and I told that roommate no. Like, I and my mom, we don't have a great relationship. And no matter what I went through with my dad, I'll always be there. And I told them I didn't understand why I can't separate myself from my dad, but I can separate myself from my mother. And they told me it's because I'm trying to normalize my childhood. I'm trying to disassociate with it because of what I went through. And in a way, they're right. I would like to disassociate with my childhood. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to remember the things that I remember. I don't want to feel the things that I feel at times. But I have no choice. It happened to me. And I've made my peace with it. I said last week, whatever my childhood was, I forgave my parents and I meant it. It doesn't make it any easier though. It doesn't make the memories fade. It doesn't make the scents go away. It doesn't make the sounds less triggering or traumatic. It just gets further in distance with time. So yeah, with that, I will pass.
I'm Sean. I have 150 51 days. Thanks, Sean. Growing old is mandatory. Growing up is optional. You know, I was robbed of my childhood at a young age on several different aspects. From beatings to molestation to being worked, just having to work your ass off like an adult as a kid, you know. A lot of different aspects, you know. So I'm forever messing with people and clowning around for the most part, you know. When I went to school to socialize because I had no social life besides that. You know, I didn't go to school to study, to do work. I went there to have some sort of social life because I didn't have one aside from that, you know. But man, it's crazy. I was just having this conversation, just about like this with my older sister today at lunchtime, ironically enough. So crazy that this is the topic of discussion tonight. You know, I told her, you know, I don't do crowds of people because I'm always, because I can't track everybody. I can't see where things are coming from all the time. You know, when I sit in the room, I know where everybody is. I know where all the angles are. I know what people are there. I know who I have to be aware of because I have a heightened sense of awareness like that because I wasn't safe as a kid. You know, that was what she told me anyway, is why I'm like that. And she's the same way. You know, we both had it like that growing up as kids. Maybe now that's why I know I'm so protective of kids. Any kid, I don't care whose kid it is. You know, I don't care whose kid it is. If I see something going on, man, I'm on it. Yeah, I'll pass.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi, my name is Gary. I have 64 days today. I think embracing your inner child is very important in recovery. It's something that in our addiction we use to really get rid of that inner child. We put it into submission. We weren't able to have fun or do those things that a child would like without using, and that's something that we have to get back. Your inner child wants to have fun. It wants to, enjoy life. Your inner child doesn't want to use. It doesn't want to, burn bridges and do all of the crazy shit we did when we were using. So getting that inner child is being in touch with that in your sobriety is very important. That's why I'm really glad that we do have fun in our recovery. We have fun at our house, in the events that we do, in our meetings. It's serious at times, but I think we do have a lighthearted kind of demeanor here. So that's much appreciated because you can't be serious all the time. You gotta enjoy that, those fun moments, those times where you can have that childlike fun and enjoyment of things. So yeah, with that.
My name is Liz. I have 26 days today. It's crazy, the inner child, my inner child was also traumatized. But I'm real good at disassociation. I can dissociate anything. But I've kind of, over 42 years, I've trained myself to I've called it the Etch-a-Sketch. And then, it just all goes away. It's fun. I'm tired of doing that. I don't remember most of my childhood because I too, I mean, I was molested from the age of 1 to 9. My mom decided to marry a pedophile. My aunt decided to marry a pedophile. Not knowing me, obviously. I came to terms with them doing the best they could with what they had. And they were dealt themselves, so I've gone through a lot of trauma therapy, but the dissociation is like, it's like I'm autopiloted to it now. So like I just constantly disassociate everything. I'm working on a happy medium here to not do that, but I use my inner child and the fun and all that as, you know, that's my go-to. That's what I am all the time. Y'all can call it mania, whatever. But like I don't like to be sad. I don't like to be angry. So I just don't do it. I don't, because when I do, it overtakes me. I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like to be that person. I don't want to be that person. I want to be a happy person. I want to be a good person. This is my first Soldierz meeting. Welcome. Really enjoying the whole thing. And I just got here from Sioux City, so the sewer, I like to call it there. Yeah, so I don't know, inner child, mine was traumatized, and I decided at a very young age that no adult in my life could protect me, so I decided I was going to protect myself, which I also was not very good at, because I just brushed everything off that happened to me instead of stopping it from happening to me. And I put myself through all those situations over and over and over again. Until like 6 weeks ago, I was sexually assaulted in my van, and then I was just like, I'm out of here. I left my van behind in Sioux City, and I came to Tim's Club, and with the help of God and my girls here and the whole household, I'm pulling myself back together. But that's all I got for today.
All right, this is part of the meeting where we go around and introduce new faces. So we'll start right here.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Taylor.
I've been sober like 3 weeks now. Tanner, I'm addict and sober just over 6 months.
I'm an addict and I've got 97 days.
I'm Katie, and I'm an alcoholic, and I've been sober for 14 days.
Let's see, where else we got here? Alright, well, hey, I can keep track. I think that's it. Anybody else? Oh, okay, Nadine.
I'm Nadine. I have 390 days sober.
Alright, let's circle up.
Who's Father?
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And when lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Keep coming back.